The moment I quit my corporate job to focus on my business full-time, I had to shift my mindset from that of an employee to that of a business owner. In this video, I want to share with you what I've learned during that transition. Hi everyone and welcome to the Savvy Corner. I'm excited about this video because I think it will help build a strong thought foundation for those of you who are business owners or entrepreneurs or who are looking to start a business in the future. When I started the Savvy Corner in 2017, I was employed for a big corporation and I very much approached it with an employee mindset. I didn't see it at the time, but I can see it now, and that wasn't such a bad thing. It gave me the discipline needed to start the business and get my first few clients. However, the moment I quit my corporate job to focus on my business full-time, I had to shift my mindset from that of an employee to that of a business owner. In this video, I want to share with you what I've learned during that transition. As always, I like to add some structure to my videos, so I will talk about employee versus business owner mentality with reference to three main areas: approach to work, attitude to money and selling, and perception of self. Let's start with the approach to work. As an employee, you are performing inside a system that is very well defined and you play a small part in it. Employees are usually very specialized people who can do one thing well, and they perform tasks related to their area of expertise alongside other people who specialize in other areas, and so together they make up the system. As a business owner, you manage the system. And if you are new to entrepreneurship, this might be very confusing because you are also your own employee working inside the system. And in the beginning, yes, you have to do both. But what I see a lot of new business owners do is work in their business as an employee, but not so much on their business as the business owner. It's not enough for you to do the tasks related to different departments in your business: marketing, communication, sales, finances, admin, and so on. But you also need to see the big picture of the system that you've created and manage it accordingly. That means asking yourself, is this system working for the goals that I want to achieve in my business? What are the most important activities, and does the time and effort that I spend on them reflect that? How can my business become more efficient? And since I mentioned efficiency, an employee's approach to efficiency will be to reorganize the steps needed to complete a task in order for that task to become or to be done faster. A business owner, however, will not focus on the task but on resources. They will reorganize resources such as time, effort, money, research, and sometimes people, so that the processes in the business become faster. So focusing on tasks versus focusing on processes. If you adopt a business owner mentality, you don't care how efficient a task is or how quickly you can do it if the process that task is part of is not working properly. So to give you an example, let's say that you are very quick to produce a video because of several templates that you use and maybe a very intuitive editing tool. If video is part of your marketing strategy and yet you are not able to generate leads in your business, the fact that you produce videos very quickly might be irrelevant. Let's say that you put those videos on Instagram stories, but your audience is not even on that platform. Does it matter that you are good and efficient at filming and editing videos? No, in this case, it doesn't make much of a difference. So as a business owner, you would look at your marketing efforts as a process and reorganize how you spend your time, effort, and money in this area to make it more efficient. So again, taking that big picture view. Related to all of this is your approach to workload. An employee would usually start with the tasks that are either urgent because they have a deadline, or with the tasks that they like doing or that they're very good at. So their approach is mostly based on preference and sometimes a routine that the employee has built, which gives structure to their day. As an entrepreneur, you want to approach your workload based on impact, not on preference. This is the Pareto principle. Ask yourself which 20% of your activities will generate 80% of the results in your business and focus on those. Brian Tracy talks about this in his book, Eat That Frog, which I will link for you in the description box below. As a business owner, you want to focus on outcomes, not outputs. You want to focus on results, and I've created a separate video on how to measure results in your business, which I will again link in the description box and at the end of this video, so you can watch it after you finish watching this one. And finally, in this category of approach to work, I want to talk about recognition. As an employee, you are used to recognition for your work to come from external sources. A promotion, a bonus, your boss telling you that you've done a good job during your appraisal, and so on. As a business owner, recognition has to come from yourself, and this is more difficult than you might think, because we tend to be our worst critics. And I know I do this sometimes. I take my success for granted. I don't always stop to celebrate it. I just tell myself that anyone would have achieved this if they followed the same steps that I followed, so it's nothing really all that special. It's important to recognize your own work and your efforts in building and managing your business. And if you're not where you want to be financially, for example, it's really hard to know what is it that you're celebrating. How can you celebrate if you haven't yet reached your goals? And for that, I recommend that you start thinking in terms of KPIs or key performance indicators and celebrate milestones rather than your final success. Because it's possible that your end goal is moving and changing as your business grows and expands, and that's normal. But you don't want to end up in a situation where you're never celebrating anything because your goal is a moving target. So start to celebrate milestones, and if you want to learn more about setting meaningful KPIs, I have a video on that which I will link for you in the description box below and at the end of this video. Well, that was a lot about the approach to work, so let's take a little tea break. If you're enjoying the video so far, I would really appreciate it if you gave it a thumbs up. If you're subscribed already or are considering it, don't forget to hit the bell so you don't miss any future videos. Alright, break over. The second area I want to address is the attitude to money and selling. For employees in a work context, their most important asset is money. And that is because they usually get paid a fixed amount of money regardless of how much time they spend at their jobs. There are exceptions, of course, when people get paid overtime and bonuses, but for the most part, an employee will consider money to be their most important work asset. If it wasn't for the money, they wouldn't go to work. They'd rather do something else, follow other passions. Entrepreneurs, on the other hand, value their time more than money. Because they are not limited in terms of how much money they can make, but their scarcest resource is time. They have 24 hours in the day like everyone else, and they can't get any more. This way of thinking reflects on how they approach their transactions, if you want. And what do I mean by this? An employee will trade his or her time for money. A business owner is willing to trade money for their time. The more time they free up from doing admin or technical work, for example, the more money they will be able to make by focusing on strategy and growing the business. Therefore, they don't mind trading money for time because that usually means more money anyway. Or more freedom. Some entrepreneurs, myself included, want their business to offer them flexibility and a certain way of living, and therefore we don't mind trading money in exchange for that. This takes me to my next point, which is the difference in mindset when it comes to opportunities. This was a big one for me, and at the beginning of my entrepreneurial journey, I would say yes to any and every opportunity because I still had an employee mindset. Someone wanted to talk to me about a business opportunity, I would say yes and waste an hour of my time talking to someone trying to sell me something I wasn't interested in. When you adopt a business owner mindset, you start to ask questions before you say yes. And you start to say no to opportunities that are not having a direct correlation with your goals. And it took me a while to get to this point, and the first time I said no to a paid opportunity, it felt really scary and like I was ungrateful and picky. But I came to realize that in order for me to get to where I want to be in my business, I have to filter the activities I get involved with and the companies and organizations that I choose to associate myself with. And this is because of the limited time that I have, the value that I place on that time, and also the potential reputational damage that comes with an unfortunate collaboration. So saying no to a paid or an unpaid opportunity because it's not conducive of your goals is part of having an entrepreneurial mindset. Even if that project is somehow in line with a passion of yours, which is always difficult. Of course, there's pro bono work here, which is an exception, but even with that, I personally am quite strict with choosing what charitable and pro bono work I do. Speaking of paid and unpaid work, let's talk about attitude to selling. Unless they work in sales, most employees don't like selling. In fact, they consider it pushy, perhaps dishonest. It's the last thing they want to do. Well, if you want to run a successful business, you need to come to terms with selling as being an essential part of that success. Selling is normal, it's how business is conducted. Just because when you go to the supermarket, you go and pick your own groceries, for example, that doesn't mean you were not sold to or that selling wasn't involved. Whenever buying is involved, selling is too. In my work with clients, I see selling as one of the main blocks to their success. And the thing about it is that it doesn't have to be a cold calling, pushy and annoying type of activity. And in fact, as a small business owner, I would argue that everything you do publicly, whether it's a talk, going to a networking event, posting on social media, or even creating video content like I'm doing here on YouTube, all of that is part of your selling and your marketing strategy. It's basically doing part of the selling for you. Also, the conversations you have with prospects are selling as well, whether you directly ask for the sale or not. The more you do this, the more you will get used to it, it will become familiar, and once you start making sales, it won't feel as alien anymore. Okay, we've talked about the differences in mindset between an employee and an entrepreneur with regards to their approach to work and attitude to money and selling. Now let's discuss their perception of themselves. I want to start with how they see rejection or failure. Someone with an employee mindset will see rejection or failure as a reflection of themselves and their work, and they will take it personally. And I think that is due to the appraisal culture, where as employees, people are judged by a set of criteria, which if you meet, you receive a very good or a good score, and if you don't meet, then you receive an acceptable or below expectation score. As a business owner, you will face quite a bit of rejection and make a lot of mistakes, or fail if you want to call it like that. If you take that as a reflection of how good you are as a person or as a professional, or how good your idea or your business is, you are going to give up. There's no specific recipe that you need to follow in your business, and if you do, then you receive a good score which guarantees your business success. You have to create that recipe, and you start by defining what success means to you. I have a video about that. And then you try different ways of getting there. If you don't succeed, you try another way, and so on. I always hated appraisals when I was employed. Although I scored very highly, I didn't like the idea of someone judging my work based on some formula that was supposed to apply to everyone in the company. And I guess this goes back to the question of seeking validation from external sources versus from inside yourself. And now that I evaluate myself, I feel much more at ease with the process, although the scores that I'm giving myself are not as high as the ones I received as an employee. Which takes me to my next point on ownership and accountability. As an employee, you take ownership of the work that you do as much as it is within your power to control it. If you submit a project late because of a colleague who turned in their piece of work at the last minute, and you needed that piece of work in order to do yours, then of course you will make that known, especially if that late submission could affect your bonus, your promotion, your appraisal, and so on. As a business owner, you have to take full responsibility and accountability for pretty much everything that happens in your business. If you're selling stuff and you need supplies and your supplier was late and therefore your delivery to the client was late, you take ownership of that. You also take responsibility for the things you choose to do, for the ones you choose not to, for the products or the services that you deliver, and so on. One thing you are not responsible for if you run a coaching business is your clients' results. Those are your clients' responsibility. This is important, and I explain more about this in an article I wrote on what makes a good coach, which I will link for you below. I've given you a lot of information in this video, and I hope Something for you to think about if you are a business owner or you're considering to start a business. One last mention I want to make is that I love employees. Most of the people in my life that are dear to me are employed. And there's nothing wrong with it, and their mindset is not right or wrong, it's just different. What I wanted this video to illustrate is the changes in mindset that I consider essential if you're running or you're considering to start your own business. Don't forget to check out the videos on how to measure results in your business and how to set meaningful KPIs. That's it from me for today. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.